Hey, Carl here for Proav TV. I'm in the woods with Phillip Bloom looking at the FS5 high frame rate upgrade.
Why are we in the woods?
Right? I don't know why we're in the woods. Should we mention why we're in the woods, do you think?
Yes, otherwise people are going to say, hi, I'm in the woods with Phillip Bloom.
So what are we here doing?
We are shooting with the new firmware for the FS5, which is the 100 and 120 frames per second continuous as PAL and NTSC in HD.
Yep.
So prior to this firmware update, it is 50p max in HD unless you're using the buffered mode, which is about 8 seconds or so, but this is continuous.
The FS5 up to then did all those bursts, but then the FS7 did the continuous, didn't it?
Yeah.
So is this in some way taking some of the features from the FS7, or is it taking inspiration from the FS7? Does it fit that middle ground a little bit, I guess?
It is in the middle because the FS7 in PAL can do, in HD, continuous at 150 frames.
Okay.
And in NTSC, it can do it at 180 frames.
Yep.
But what the FS7 doesn't do, it doesn't have that ability to do the burst as high as this, as high as the 200 and the 240 frames. So it has a little features that the FS7 doesn't have, and the FS7 certainly has features that this doesn't have. This has always been the little brother which is trying to be close to the FS7, but does certain things better and other things not so good. So that works with cats.
So in terms of when to use the burst or the buffer mode and when to use continuous mode, when would you want to use one over the other?
Continuous is easy because it's continuous. The only real downside is the amount of data you accumulate. And I've had this on, when I've been shooting jobs, and it's nice to be able to just hit record and let it happen. But if you're waiting for something to happen, you can end up accumulating just too much to go through. Something really nice about that sort of buffered mode where it just records 8 seconds, and the way the FS5 does that, it has 3 separate modes. One is start trigger, one is end trigger, and the other one is end trigger half. Start trigger, you hit record and it records for 8 seconds into its buffer and then offloads it to the card. End trigger, it records continuously for 8 seconds and you hit record and it saves those previous 8 seconds, and end trigger half is 4 seconds. And if you're waiting for something to happen, like a bird taking off, that end trigger is a great way of capturing it. So you wait for it to take off, it takes off, and you hit record. Make sure that you have 8 seconds of that shot, otherwise you miss the beginning of it. Because the problem with a start trigger is you don't know when it's going to happen. And you hit record, and it records for 8 seconds, then it starts saving it, and then what happens if the bird takes off during that? That's where continuous can be a big advantage. You just hit record, and you wait. Sure, you have to cut it down, but these are, on this camera, it's SD cards. They're not really expensive media.
Yeah,
it's
the media
not like,
space is cheap with this camera.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. So for me, it's about getting the shot. Whilst it is nice to have that option of the buffered, I would always go continuous if I could.
Okay. I guess another thing that I certainly noticed when you were filming with this today was with a burst, you would have been doing a shot for 8 seconds and then stop, and you would have had to sit there and wait. And there was plenty of times today when you got a nice shot and hit stop and cut, and then something instantly nice happened. You went, oh, either stop recording again or re-angle, start going straight away. And I guess you can't do that in burst, can you?
You're going to miss shots no matter what you're doing. Where, you're waiting for an alpaca to look your way. No, come back. Or a meerkat to pop out, and you think you've got a great shot. You have to stop recording at some point, and very often, as soon as you stop recording, something better happens. Oh, too fast for me. At least with continuous, you've got more of a chance of continuing, hit record and try and carry on, because with buffered, it's saving to the card and then you have to cancel it and then come back. It's a much slower way of shooting. The thing is, it's about getting that shot, and therefore continuous is preferable. But of course, that buffered mode is slower. 100 frames compared to 200 frames. It's quite a big difference.
Did you know, because you're very familiar with these cameras, aren't you? Let's maybe talk a little bit about when your experience using both cameras, when you pick up one, when you pick up the bigger one.
Yeah. So, I have the FS5 and I have the FS7. They're my two main video cameras. The FS7 is my main camera. It has all the things I need, the 10-bit 4K, continuous HD at 150 frames, 180 if I'm shooting an NTSC, and I love all of that. I really do like the FS5 for its size, and I have the RAW upgrade for it. So I can output to Shogun Inferno or an Odyssey 7Q from Convergent Design, and I can take that RAW signal and record continuous high frame rate at 200, 240 frames with the FS5 with that raw upgrade, and that's really nice. So I like that, and I'm also able to shoot at 4K in 10-bit, at 50 or 60p, and even a 4-second buffered mode at 100 frames or 120 frames in 4K. When I made a video for Fuji to show off their new cinema lenses, I actually chose the FS5 with the raw upgrade because I wanted that 4K 60 and the additional 100 frames in 4K, even though it's only just 4 seconds, which is actually not that bad. And I love the high frame rate continuous of 200 frames on the FS5 more. So I use it quite a lot. If I'm just doing my normal everyday work or my general documentary work, then the FS7 is my primary choice because it's nice and simple and it's all there. I would definitely prefer to have a camera that does everything internally rather than get the extra frame rates by having to record externally, for sure. So it is always a bit of a compromise with the two.
And that's the nice thing about this new firmware upgrade, because just to clarify to maybe some of our audience, the FS5 has several paid firmware upgrades which you can apply to it to improve what it can do straight out of the box. So the first one was this raw upgrade, which is what gives you the raw signal out of the SDI port, and you record that onto, say, an Atmos or something like that, or Convergent Design.
Yeah.
But that's a big we've got a small monitor here. It's a bigger one.
Nobody makes small recorders, which is what you need.
Exactly, you need a 5-inch version.
Atmos do make a 19-inch version.
Yeah, that might be a bit too big for the FS5.
It's a bit too big for any camera, really.
So there's that upgrade, which is the raw one, and then this one is the new one, which gives you this high frame rates internally. So, because there's definitely times when you don't want to have anything really on the top of the camera, or if you do want to have something on the top of the camera, you have something very small.
Yeah.
Keep the camera in its small, stripped down, light, nice to use sort of configuration. And so to get continuous slow motion internally is quite nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you didn't have the firmware, what it comes with straight away is actually fine. I mean, it's what I first shot. I've had the FS5, owned it for almost 2 years now, and my initial stuff was all just with the bog standard features, and it is nice to have that additional high frame rate.
It means that, these cameras have a long shelf life. I mean, you invest in a camera and you expect it to last for many years. There's an investment that's going to keep creating great work for you. And so to trickle out firmware upgrades like this when the technology becomes possible, yes, even if you do have to pay for it, it keeps giving your camera an extra burst of life. So let's run the audience through what we've got set up here, and how did you find actually shooting with it today?
Sure, I mean, it's a very simple setup. I've got the E-image tripod on here, and I have the FS5 and Fuji lenses. I shot with 3 lenses today, 2 Fuji cinema lenses and a Sony still lens at 70-300 to give me extra range. Nowhere near as easy to use mechanically as these lovely manual focuses, and Small HD 503. But I like a nice bright monitor, especially if you have lots of nice sunshine, because you can see it really well. Didn't really have much sunshine until now, when the actual farm was closed, but we'll do our best. So when we were filming, it was, I have to say, a bit of a struggle, because when you are shooting at 100 frames per second, it's effectively 3 stops of light is lost by having to change shutter speed to match that. In fact, it's at 215th of a second. For some reason, you can't shoot at 200th of a second shutter speed for some reason. Don't know why. But it's a bit of a struggle underneath without any sun. But it is England and it is August. What do you expect? Sunshine?
Running in and out of rain.
Had a
Definitely
lot of rain.
wasn't sunshine for most of the day, was it?
I think we've got some nice shots. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to shoot animals. They're a bit unpredictable. The one thing that tripped me up, and it's tripped me up ever since the FS700 really with its slow motion, is if you go into any menus or go and look at any clips after you've set it into slow motion mode, it will then go back into normal speed. And some of my favourite shots that I've done today were not in slow motion because I forgot that. So you have to keep reminding yourself.
It's so easy to miss it.
It's so easy to do, and you think you've got a great shot, and you just look up and you go, oh, it's recording audio. That means it's not in slow motion mode, because when you're recording in the high frame rate, it's mute. Oh well. Best shot of the day. Come and have a look. Come and have a look. And I think
is it in slow-mo?
I think for this one was actually in slow-mo.
Oh, perfect.
Didn't make up for missing all the other shots.
And that's why we brought it in for the
Oh God, I just deleted it.
Okay, so if you want to find out any more information about the high frame rate upgrade, check it out on our website. Leave a comment below. I'd like to see what you guys think of this. Is this worth the extra money for the paid upgrade? Let us know down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Just in case I screw up on putting it in slow motion, recording mode again, and get this shot. I can't really screw this up.